Hey guys, we're back to the Comanche build and doing some on the bench videos, which I'm really excited about. So let's talk about this truck and the paint and the bodywork. So I'm pretty excited to say that this Comanche here from jscale.net, I'm really excited to say that it's got a lot of scale features, a lot of really realistic features, like the grill already comes in multiple pieces. The insert pops out and you can get chromed bumpers or chrome grills or chrome inserts or all these different parts from jscale.net. Very excited to have the fenders split off the truck too as well in the front. So I mean, this is a really big deal because this whole thing, you just paint it, boom, there you go. Of course, these are the front fenders that go in here inside the bodywork here. So these for our Comanche are all going to be just black, like a matte black. The truck that we're doing here is the sport truck version, so this is the one with the stripe kit on it here. And the truck is going to be sort of an old faded white sort of color, a little closer to this than this. And we're going to try to do just an old truck theme with it. Really excited to talk about the cab and the tail here. I did a video earlier on in this sort of Comanche build series here talking about the bed. Let me move the cab out of the way here. And we talked about, with the bed earlier, we talked about gluing it together and making sure the joints fit together where you do the seams for the 3D printing and such. And then I had some primer over here and not enough primer over here, and you could really tell the difference between the thickness of the paint and how it filled in the details on the or you filled in, say, the print lines on the 3D printed parts. So now that we've actually gotten it to the place where we're doing actual paint, you can really see how that worked out. So I'm trying to not use any filler on this truck at all. And so far, what we've got here is actually just the 3D printed bodies. There's CA in the seams, which is really easy to sand out afterwards. With, of course, some activator to keep it together nice and strong for the beginning. And then we backfilled all the seams with CA, as I showed you on the other video. And now we've just block sanded it. So basically, all I'm using for my block, I should show you. So I'm using this little piece of balsa for my block. That's it. This is just a chunk of 3/4 by 1/2 inch balsa wood, a couple inches long, and I get my sandpaper on there, and then I can just follow the body lines on the truck and go along. And when you get into the corners, you can just do a little bit of a circle on it here so that it's kind of gets cleaned out. It's cleaned out in the corners, a little bit of sanding in there. But then what I really want to just show off today is that with some paint, with a bunch of paint layers on here, like some high build primer works, we used lots and lots of coats of just regular primer and all flat colors, and then put a white top coat over it, and then block sanded that whole thing so that we could really get the details to come out. In this case, it's actually the opposite of details. Like, we're trying to get rid of some of the print details by doing this because it's a 3D printed tail in the truck. We wanted to get rid of the print lines, and so, you know, the details show up by doing this sort of a layered, multicolored layered sort of a paint and then a block sand. And that's exactly what we want in order to make sure that we've got the paint down far enough so the top coat will be smooth. That's where we're at. Really happy with how the bed worked out. Really simple mounting here. The Comanche, we just for now bolted it right through the bed into these cross members here in the C-Max frame. The reason for that is just to basically get it aligned so that when we're doing the cab fitment, we got the wheelbase adjusted correctly, and that's the reason we did it through here. But what we intend to do is actually make up a little L bracket that will glue onto the bottom of the bed here in 2 spots. And then it will bolt into the frame from this side, from the outsides of the frame, so that the 2 L brackets here and 2 L brackets in the back, they're doing all the work holding the box. And then we can actually just fill in these holes here so we don't have any hardware in the bed. That's the idea. Of course, the rest of this is C-Max, so it was pretty easy for us to set up new lower body skid plates. Those are in the middle of printing and testing for fitment now. And the bed, of course, helps us to line up the cab. There's already a little line here in the back of the cab right here. There's a little line in the print so that you get the proper spacing in the back of the cab between the cab and the bed. So perfect gap. The body line is nice. And the way that you're seeing us get through the cab work here, this is kind of where I really want to focus my attention today in the video, because we've got the multicolored paint layers on here. So this was actually done with flat brown. There was an exceptional amount of flat brown laid over top of the 3D printed section here in the back, as well as a little bit of brown in the front of the cab. Now this part of the cab from here forward, this is all ABS molded, so the finish is also really nice already on it. And you can see here through our block sanding that it's really uniform here. And there's a lot more roughness going on when it comes to the smooth finish that you're looking for on the 3D printed section of the cab. You can see here there's a bunch of weird lines and dots and stuff. So what I've done here is actually ground off the little roof rails that are in the roof from the front of the cab, and they're not part of the Comanche. So I just simply ground those off flat, and then I put a whole bunch of layers of brown flat paint onto the roof and these rear sections, and then I put a nice thick top coat of flat white over top of the whole thing. So what ends up happening is when I'm sanding the body now with the block, I'm actually showing up any of the details that are dropped in. So a little bit of, there's a grinder dent here. You can see there's a couple of grinder dents here from actually shaving off these ribs that were on the hard body part. And then when I block sand it, now it's flat. It's exceptionally flat. I mean, it's really, really nice. But what ends up happening is you see through the layers of paint when you're sanding. And that's why I like the multicolor primers. Okay, I really, really like using the multicolor primers, because when you're sanding, you get a really clear idea of where the body has dimples or marks or dents or needs filler or any of those things. You can totally clearly see it. I don't recommend you just do hand sanding on these, because what will end up happening is your hand will actually follow the contours that are in say the hood or the roof or the sides. Instead of actually leveling the paint or leveling the filler or the primer, your hand will actually just follow the contour the whole time, and then you're not going to have a clean finish when you're done. So please just use a tiny block. Even a tiny block will be enough to make sure that you're actually leveling off the surface instead of following the contours. That's where we're at with the Comanche. It's coming along really well. I'm excited to get some top coat on this, and I'm excited to get the grill work and stuff put back in it, and get the stripe kit on it. And so we're really doing well with this project. I think what's going to happen with this next is that I'm probably going to mask off my black trim work, and then I'll put a white top coat on it and do a really quick little block sand, just like I've done here on the tail. And then I'll have a pretty good idea of what's left to finish on the cab, but I have a feeling we're going to be really close, so look forward to having a painted Comanche pretty soon. Thanks for watching.